So this video is going to be a little bit of a different format than my usual videos, and the reason for that is because we are going to be talking about Creepshow Art. So I think at this point pretty much everyone knows everything that's going on with Creepshow Art. There have been a lot of videos made, and I will acknowledge that I waited a long time to make a video, but there was a reason for that. And the reason for that is that some of my closest friends on YouTube are people who were very close to Shannon, and I wanted to, out of respect for them, give them the time to absorb the information, process everything that has happened, and to use their voices to speak about this situation. And now that everyone has had a chance to do that, I feel it is appropriate for me to speak about this, not just as someone who was an acquaintance of Shannon, but also as someone who has seen how her actions have affected the people who were very close to her. A lot of people were pressuring me and other creators to speak about the situation right away, and were quick to call us hypocrites because we weren't reacting fast enough. To those people, I just want to say that those who were most hurt by Shannon's actions are under zero obligation to post a video in the time frame that other people deem appropriate. Some of us knew Shannon just as an acquaintance, such as myself, but other people were more than just acquaintances to Shannon. They actually saw her as a close friend, even outside of YouTube. And so I think it is very pretentious of people to look at this situation and say that someone is a hypocrite, or that they are turning a blind eye, just because it took these creators a little bit longer than they deemed was satisfactory to respond. So before I start this video, I want to be clear about what my relationship with Shannon actually was. We were never close personal friends. We were acquaintances who spoke from time to time, and she used to support my channel back when I was still only around 15,000 subscribers, which was something that I really appreciated because she didn't have to do that. The two of us actually started talking when Davi Vandy was being exposed online. In fact, she and Timimi were actually the two people who initially got the FBI involved in this case and got them to begin a federal investigation. We all had a group chat going with some other creators where we would talk about the case, and after the Davi situation died down, Shannon and I would still talk, but not with any degree of regularity. My point here is that while I can offer some insight into this situation, I don't want to speak over the people who were hurt by her far more than I was. I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't hurt by her actions at all, because that would be a lie. Shannon was always someone that I had looked up to, even before she started supporting my channel. And the fact that she cared enough about the Davi survivors to get the FBI involved in the first place made me really respect her, not just as a content creator, but also as a human. So yes, I did feel hurt and betrayed to some extent. But what I felt is nothing compared to what Repzilla, Timimi, and Ready to Glare must be going through right now, because they were people who were friends with Shannon for years, even before the Davi situation. And what I am feeling is pretty close to insignificant compared to what Emily Artful has been going through for just about the last decade. And so for these reasons, I thought it was not only 100% appropriate, but also necessary for me to sit back and allow these people's voices to be heard. And I wanted to give them a chance to understand that the person that they thought they were friends with for years was not the person that they thought she was. So now that everyone, I think, has had a chance to speak and has sort of processed everything that's happened, I now feel comfortable making my own video and talking about the situation from my perspective. Based on my short interactions that I did have with Shannon, one of the things that always stuck out to me is that I thought she was extremely genuine and extremely loyal, like loyal to a fault. I remember there was one instance where someone in the group chat said that they were having issues with their living situation, and Shannon immediately said, "Do you need anything? Do you need any money? I can put you up in a hotel for a few days if you're not safe right now." And that was something that I was just amazed at. I thought that was such an incredible thing to do for someone that she really didn't know that well. So this whole situation has completely taken me by surprise, because I never would have expected Shannon, Creepshow Art of all people, to be someone who would turn their back on a friend, to be someone who would spread rumors about people online, or to be someone who would actively try to hurt another person. I did understand that Creepshow Art was not a perfect person. I had criticisms of her, and there were videos that I thought she had done that I thought were problematic, I thought were harmful, but I always thought that she was coming from a place of genuinely wanting to help other people, and I thought she was someone who would always stand up for what she believed in. And now, after looking at all of the evidence, after looking at everything that has come out, I'm realizing that I don't think Shannon actually stands for anything. I don't know if she actually ever believed anything she ever said to anyone online. And that's a really, really hard thing to come to terms with. So I'm not going to be going deep into every single detail of every single thing that Shannon has been accused of, mostly just because so many other creators have already done amazing and thoroughly researched videos talking about some of the ways that Shannon has been really awful to people online. Creators like Vangelina Skov, Timimi, Repzilla, Ready to Glare, Emily Artful, and Ashley Lilly have all done amazing videos on the Creepshow Art situation from different perspectives. So I will link some of those videos in the description below if you guys want to get a different perspective or some more context for this situation. But I did also want to acknowledge some of the ways that Shannon has hurt people online, just for context, because I think it's important to, when calling someone out, acknowledge the horrible things that they have done and not just speak vaguely in like, oh yeah, they did a bad thing. You know, like I want to be specific. I want to acknowledge the things that I think are disgusting. One of the first things that people were calling Shannon out for was for the fact that she was allegedly posting really nasty comments about some of her closest friends on an anonymous hate site called lolcow, which is very similar to 4chan. But people were also upset because she wasn't just posting nasty things about people that she said were her friends. She was also posting things that were really, really offensive. She was using slurs, she was being transphobic, and she was being extremely ableist. And this is something that goes against pretty much everything Shannon has ever claimed to stand for in her videos. So obviously, people were very offended. Also on lolcow, she was apparently doxing her own sister, which a lot of people have called her out for, but I think the most disgusting, the most awful thing that Shannon has been exposed for recently is for stalking Emily Artful for 8+ years. Now, there isn't any like definitive proof. There hasn't been a court case. There aren't like charges being pressed against Shannon. So for legal purposes, I am going to say allegedly, just as Emily did in her video, but this is not me like not believing Emily or taking Shannon's side or anything like that. It's just to protect myself and also Emily from any legal repercussions from saying that she definitely did this. So I don't really think that there is ever any way that I, in a 10-minute long video, could ever capture the amount of trauma and abuse that Emily must have gone through over the course of almost a decade. But I will just give a couple details so you guys can try to understand what she must have been feeling and what she was going through. So she said that there were times when she was afraid for her own life and also for the lives of her children, and that she also was fired from her job because Shannon used revenge porn to get her fired. And as a result, Emily became homeless. This is just the tip of the iceberg, but it's a couple details that really help you to understand that Emily felt completely terrified of Shannon for years and has only recently felt comfortable speaking out against the person who tormented her. This whole situation has shocked me completely because I never would have thought that Shannon would be the kind of person who would be capable of anything even remotely similar to this. The IP address situation is bad enough, but then Shannon, instead of just acknowledging, yeah, that was me, I messed up, that was horrible, I don't know why I did it, and apologizing, she decided to double down and say, no, that wasn't me. That was a stalker. I'm actually the victim. And she decided to lie to everyone. She tried to manipulate all of her friends and lied to them. All of the other people who I am friends with, who were friends with Shannon, said that days before all this stuff came out, she started love bombing them and just telling them over and over how much she loved them and appreciated them. And then behind the scenes, she was actually talking badly about all of these people the entire time. But it's not just that, it's also the whole Emily Artful situation, because Emily Artful did say that her abusive ex-boyfriend is Shannon's husband. And Shannon has always been so outspoken about issues about like CSA and standing up for, like, she has always made that a very, very big part of her brand. And it turns out that behind the scenes, Shannon did not believe in any of that, because not only was she doing this to another person? Was she causing harm and trauma to another person and using their own nudes against them, their own CP against them, allegedly? She was also married to the person who apparently assaulted Emily. I cannot even imagine, like, if you had told me a month ago that this would be Shannon, that Shannon was guilty of these things, or that Shannon had been credibly accused of these things, I never would have believed it, because I thought that was the one thing that Shannon actually believed in. And it turns out I was completely wrong. Another thing that really hurt me is the LGBT stuff that she was saying on lolcow. Now, Shannon had talked very publicly about the fact that she is bisexual, that she is a part of the community, and that she has a lot of support for people within the community. She had made it a very big part of her brand, and that was something that I felt connected to. I felt connected because we are both a part of the LGBT community, and we are both people who seemingly care a lot about it. And then I find out that she is actually secretly posting really, really nasty stuff online using transphobic slurs. And so I realized that not only did she not actually care about victims of CSA or victims of revenge porn, she also didn't care about her own community. I don't even know if she's actually part of the community. I don't know if this is just some kind of like weird internalized transphobia or internalized biphobia or something like that, or if this is something that she was just trying to use to get clout online. I have no idea, because at this point, everything I know about Shannon turns out to have completely been a fabrication. The weirdest thing to me is that she was so helpful in getting the Davi investigation off the ground and getting it going. And now I'm just wondering, was that a lie too? Was that her being genuine? Did she actually care about that? Did she actually care about any of these girls who came forward? Basically, I just feel really, really let down. I feel really hurt because this is a creator that I looked up to and that, yes, I had issues with. I thought that there were some things that she had done in the past. I thought there were some videos that she had done that were problematic. I thought some were hurtful. I thought some came off as kind of ableist. But I thought ultimately she did have a good heart and she was trying to do the right thing. And I thought that she was someone who genuinely believed in something. And I'm now coming to terms with the fact that this creator, who I spent years watching and looking up to, is not the person that I thought she was. And I feel awful about the fact that I supported her, that I used my channel to support some of her videos, that I talked positively about her in the past when she was actually causing so much harm to people online, especially to Emily. So I don't even know. So I guess the last thing I wanted to say in this video is that I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I ever supported Shannon. I'm sorry to all of the people who Shannon hurt, either directly or indirectly. I'm sorry to all of the people who were friends with Shannon, who looked up to her and who thought that she cared about them. I'm sorry especially to Emily for all of the pain that Shannon and her husband have caused you over the last almost decade. And I'm sorry to anyone who was a part of her community who now feels like they don't know where they belong. I really hope that everyone who has been negatively affected by Shannon's horrible behavior, be they friends, acquaintances, family members, Emily, or people in her community, I really hope that you guys can start to move past this and start to find strength and courage now that she is being held accountable for everything that she has done over the last almost decade. I also want to thank everyone who made a video talking about Shannon. I want to thank Omnia and Ready to Glare, also Tamimi, Repzilla, Emily Artful, basically everyone I talked about before. I want to thank you guys for speaking about this and for helping to spread awareness, and also for helping to hold Creepshow accountable for everything that she has done and for all the people that she has hurt. I also wanted to thank everyone who watched this video and who has been extremely supportive of the people who have been hurt by Shannon's actions, especially Emily. I think this situation is really, really difficult and draining for so many people, so I just wanted to add that little bit of positivity at the end of this video. I really appreciate you guys listening to what I have to say about this situation and just leaving really supportive messages, because this situation is really, really hard on this community and it's been a really difficult situation for a lot of my close friends. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and thank you especially to every single person who is supporting me over on my Patreon. You guys are wonderful and I appreciate you so much, and I hope all of you have a wonderful week. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone!